The Haunted Forest is a brand new film set to premiere in this year's FrightFest Film Festival in London today, August 23rd. It focuses on a haunted attraction in the middle of the woods called the Haunted Forest that folks go to on a seasonal basis to get their socks scared off of them in a similar way that you might find at certain haunted house events found throughout the world. But things get to be a bit too real when some of the performers end up dying in gruesome ways left and right, which only seems to bring in even more people than normal because, as the tagline seems to suggest, death sells. A part of the film speaks to me because growing up, the town that I lived in didn't have haunted houses to explore, but it did have a wooded area that every year around Halloween, they would dress it up in cobwebs and have a number of volunteers come in and try to scare everybody by literally jumping out from behind the tree. It was something that created a lasting impression, which is partially why I really liked the setup for this film about a number of people essentially doing the same exact thing, only for it to become a little bit too real for everybody involved when the film takes a dramatic turn of events. From a moral of the story point of view, I think that the tagline of the film, Death Sells, speaks volumes. According to a statement by the director of the film, Keith Boynton, The Haunted Forest is a love letter to slasher films as well as an examination to what makes them so compelling. What is it about violence and death that fascinates us so much? He absolutely raises a valid point about how we view not just slasher movies, but horror as a whole. This is a genre of film that is so big, so popular, that it essentially has its own zip code. There are people so dedicated to the genre that they literally will never watch anything else. And I kind of get it. On my channel, horror is more or less my niche. There really is a different line of thinking when walking into a horror movie and walking into literally anything else. It's hard to describe, and I love that this movie attempts to celebrate and interrogate the horror genre. It's a solid idea, but I think somewhere the execution falters. While I was all in for the first half of the movie, the latter half began to drag on for me. It's not a long movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it started to feel longer than it was because after a certain point, it began to feel slightly repetitious in its narrative. And structurally, not too much was going on. It was clearly more important for the film to continue on the path of showcasing the idea of how people are so enamored by death and the macabre that even in the face of literal tragedy, they won't change, they'll just keep coming back for more. But as a film, the beats that an audience needs for a good movie to work kind of sat in stagnant water. So when the climax of the film finally came around, it was a bit anticlimactic. The building of tension and suspense slowed to a halt. The narrative obstacles were cloudy at best. The list goes on. It really was very simple. Around the halfway point, it became apparent that the film wasn't really going to explore what the audience wanted it to explore. Overall, the movie did look pretty good. I thought that the cinematography worked relatively well. I thought that it captured the spirit of a haunted event like this and how fun it can be to scare people in all good fun. But I also had a slight issue in the film's overall ending. Without going too deep into spoiler territory, I just felt as though it was a bit more interested in trying to be unpredictable than sensible, because honestly, the way it explained itself wasn't very strong, and it felt more random than satisfactory. Still, the film is passable. It has its moments and certainly has a stronger first half, but the film's message just held more importance than the overall execution, which ended up hurting it at the end. I'm giving it 59 out of 100 possible stars. For me, that's a C- letter grade. But what about you guys? Have you seen The Haunted Forest? Leave your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, whenever and whatever that may be on. And until then, peace out.